You know that person who laughs at almost everything? The one who finds humor in moments that would send most people into a meltdown? That's not carelessness, that's history. Because people who laugh easily have often cried quietly. They didn't just go through a rough phase, they went through experiences that permanently changed how their mind works. When you've survived real storms, everyday chaos doesn't feel as threatening. Someone cuts them off in traffic, they don't explode. Their mind automatically jumps to compassion. Maybe that person is exhausted. Maybe they're breaking inside. Maybe today is just heavy. That response isn't naive, it's trained. Here's what most people don't realize. Trauma doesn't always break the brain. Sometimes it refines it. Their nervous system learned how to endure, not how to avoid pain, but how not to be destroyed by it. And strangely, instead of becoming bitter, many of these people become deeply empathetic, almost painfully so. They notice the smallest shifts, a forced smile, a pause that lingers too long, a change in tone that most people miss. They don't just hear words, they read emotional subtext. They walk into a room and feel the atmosphere before anyone speaks. Where others see furniture, they sense emotional temperature. This sensitivity isn't weakness, it's fluency in pain. Psychologists call what often follows post-traumatic growth, not just recovery, but expansion. Priorities become sharp, moments become sacred. A quiet sunset can bring them to tears, and they're not embarrassed by that anymore. But there's a cost. Their threat system never fully shuts off. They sit facing exits. They plan ahead. They prepare for things that may never happen. That's not paranoia. That's a nervous system that learned safety isn't guaranteed. They also downplay their pain constantly. It wasn't that bad. Others had it worse. I'm fine. Because admitting struggle feels dangerous. Survival taught them strength meant silence. Relationships become complicated. They are fiercely loyal. They will show up at 3 a.m. without hesitation. But ask them to be vulnerable, to ask for help, suddenly they disappear behind independence. They want connection, but closeness once came with consequences. So they learn to need no one, which looks strong, but can feel lonely. Yet here's what makes them remarkable. They adapt quickly. Change doesn't scare them. They've already rebuilt their life more than once. And the humor, especially the dark humor, isn't cruelty, it's control. When you can laugh at pain, it loses its grip. Every joke becomes a quiet rebellion against what tried to break them. But beneath it all lives a quiet grief, not for someone else, for themselves. For the version that trusted easily, the version that didn't scan rooms for danger, the version that felt light. They mourn a self they barely remember, and that grief shapes them. It makes them gentle, intentional, protective of peace. They value safe people because unsafe ones taught them the cost. People who've been through too much don't just survive, they understand life deeply. They know strength isn't never falling apart. It's learning how to reassemble yourself even when some pieces don't fit the same way anymore. Their pain became compassion. Their survival became insight. They're not shining because life was kind. They shine because they remember the dark. So when you meet someone who laughs easily, adapts quickly, and carries unexpected depth, understand this. They've been through too much, and somehow they're still here. If this resonated, subscribe. This channel isn't about judging coping mechanisms. It's about understanding the minds that learn to survive quietly.